Hello everyone. In this series of 3 videos, we will talk about models. In the first and second videos, we will learn the function and form of a number of models. In the final video, we will do exercises about those models. Let's start from the first one. The first type of models we will talk about is models of obligation, which are must and have to. Both of these models express obligation and have the same meaning. Let's see a couple of example sentences. I must pass the EP to study at METÜ, or I have to pass the EP to study at METÜ. Thanks to the use of must and have to, I understand that passing the EP is the only option. That is, passing the EP is an obligation for me to go on studying at METÜ. I can also say that this is one of the university rules. What about the form of must and have to? After must and have to, we use the base form of the verb, that is, verb 1. We use must with all the subjects, and we use have to with the subjects I, you, we, or they. However, we use has to with the subjects he, she, or it. Let's see this pair of example sentences. All applicants have to take an entrance exam, or all applicants must take an entrance exam. Because of the models must and have to, we should understand that it is obligatory and necessary for all the applicants to take an entrance exam. That is, the exam is required and there is no other choice. When it comes to the past form of must and have to, there is no past form of must. We use had to with all the subjects, that is, I, you, we, they, he, she, or it, to express obligation and necessity in the past. So had to is the past form of both must and have to. He couldn't come to the party because he had to study for his final exam. From this sentence, I understand that it was necessary and obligatory for him to study for his final exam because of the use of had to. What about the question forms of must and have to? We don't generally use must in questions, so please use have to in questions instead of must. While making yes no questions with have to, we use do at the beginning of the sentence with the subjects I, you, we, or they. And after the subject, we use have to, which is followed by the base form of the verb, that is, verb 1. However, with the subjects he, she, or it, we use does at the beginning of the sentence as the auxiliary verb, and the rest of the sentence is the same. As for the information questions, which is also called WH questions, there is nothing different than yes-no questions apart from the WH question verbs at the beginning of the question sentence, and the rest of the sentence is just the same. And in subject questions, the verb is always singular, so we always use has to in subject questions, as in the case of this example sentence. When it comes to the negative form of must and have to, we will talk about them in the models of prohibition and lack of necessity. The second type of model in this part is models of necessity. Let's start with need to. Need to is a model-like expression which expresses necessity in the past, present, or future. In other words, we can use need to with different tenses. All applicants need to take an entrance exam. This sentence shows a necessity in present simple tense. They needed to clean everything before they started to paint the room. And this sentence has a meaning of necessity in the past. I can also use need to with other tenses like present perfect or future tenses with will or be going to. For example, in this dialogue, we can see need to in question and positive sentence structure of future tense with will. Let's move on to the second group of models, which is models of ability. In this part, we will talk about two different models, which are can and be able to. Let's start with can. We use can to talk about ability in general, or an acquired or a learned skill. Dogs can bark, but they cannot talk. Barking is a general ability of dogs, and here you can see the negative form of the model. Maria can play the piano. She's been taking lessons for many years. Obviously, Maria learned to play the piano, and we use can to talk about this learned skill. The past form of can is could. In other words, we use could to talk about general ability or learned skills in the past. The second model of ability is be able to. Unlike can, which is used for general abilities, we use be able to for specific abilities which often takes place in a difficult situation in the past, present, or future. In other words, it has a meaning of being successful and managing to do something in a difficult situation. With a sudden burst of adrenaline, John was able to lift the car off the child's leg. There is a difficult situation here because the car was on the child's leg, and John managed to lift it. I know the due date of the assignment is tomorrow, so I'm sure that I won't be able to finish it by tomorrow. The due date is tomorrow. I don't have enough time, which is too difficult for me to finish the assignment. The past forms of can and be able to are could and was were able to respectively. Let's see some more examples on the positive forms of these models. He could swim when he was 5. Swimming is a general ability, so I can use could to show this ability in the past. Edison could read when she was 3 years old. Reading is a learned or an acquired skill, and I can use could to show this skill in the past. However, although there was thick fog, she was able to ski down the mountain to get help. There is a difficult situation here, which is the thick fog. So I must use was able to show the specific situation in a difficult context in the past. The fire spread through the building very quickly, but fortunately, everyone was able to escape. There is another difficult situation here, which is the fire. So I must use was able to escape to show this difficult situation in a specific context, to give the meaning of being successful or managing. After training for 3 months, the CIA was able to find the hackers who gained access to the forbidden sites. The difficult situation here is training for 3 months, and I use was able to here to show the meaning of being successful in a difficult and specific context. Let's move on to the negative forms of these models. In contrast to the difference that could and was were able to have in the positive form, in the negative form, wasn't or weren't able to and couldn't are both correct. Sorry, I couldn't attend a meeting yesterday. Or sorry, I wasn't able to attend a meeting yesterday. Both of them are possible and they don't have any difference in meaning. The fog came down and I wasn't able to or couldn't get to the top of the mountain. Both of these models give the same meaning in this specific sentence. This is the end of part 1.